The Trump administration is about to hand Ashley Babbitt's family $5 million. Right, and she, if you've forgotten, is the 35-year-old woman who was infamously shot and killed at the Capitol on January 6th. With her appearing to be trying to climb through a smashed glass panel on the door of the barricaded speaker's lobby, a Trump flag draped around her neck. Doors, which were said to be the final security perimeter for a group of police defending lawmakers in the House chamber just down the hall. And as she appeared to crawl through the hole, Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd fired a single shot, striking her in the shoulder and killing her, which actually made her the single Jan 6er to die that day, and she became a martyr for the American right. Her death became a flashpoint in US politics. But then with that, you saw in 2021 the Justice Department finding that there was insufficient evidence to prove that Babbitt's civil rights had been violated, with them also saying that it was reasonable for the officer to have believed that he was firing in self-defense or in defense of fleeing lawmakers. And then, later that same year, after finishing an internal investigation, the Capitol Police also cleared Byrd of any wrongdoing, saying his actions at the height of the riot potentially saved members and staff from serious injury and possible death from a large crowd of rioters who forced their way into the US Capitol and to the House chamber where members and staff were steps away. In fact, Byrd's attorney not only argued that he was justified, but what he did was positively heroic, saying he stopped the final surge of rioters that were mere steps from members of Congress. It is not hard to imagine the impact on our democracy had these rioters been able to reach their intended targets, sitting members of Congress. You also had Byrd himself defending his actions in an interview with NBC.
There was no way to retreat, no other way to get out. You're the last line of defense, and it's up to you to take the appropriate action based on the circumstances.
And then that's where you found yourself.
And that's where I found myself.
What made you pull the trigger?
Last resort. I tried to wait as long as I could.
But in the face of all that, in the years since Jan 6, Babbitt's name has become a rallying cry for the right, with people plastering her face on flags and signs, holding vigils and protests, creating hashtags on social media, and selling merch in support of her. I mean, the American Conservative magazine even published an article comparing her to George Floyd. And this is, you've had commentators and politicians alike painting her as a harmless, innocent patriot, and Byrd as either negligent or even a murderer.
If they think it's okay to kill Ashley Babbitt when she posed no mortal threat to anybody, not even conceivably, then they'll be happy when I die.
He couldn't see her. She wasn't holding anything. They were
fired blindly into a crowd.
Yep.
Okay.
Justified, they said.
Who executed Ashley Babbitt?
There's never been a trial. As a matter of fact, no one has cared about the person that shot and killed her.
Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace.
And so with all that, you had Babbitt's family filing a wrongful death lawsuit, and they were seeking $30 million, with them arguing that Byrd was negligent in killing Babbitt, who was unarmed and, according to them, had her hands in the air. But you had Byrd claiming he couldn't fully see her hands or what she was carrying in a backpack, and saying what he did know was that there had been police radio reports of pipe bombs on Capitol Hill, that officers were down, and that rioters were using weapons against them. So the Justice Department, having already concluded that Byrd's shooting was justified, dug in for a trial in July 2026. Now, what we're seeing is that appears to have been called off, with the Washington Post reporting that Trump's DOJ has now agreed in principle to settle with Babbitt's family for just under $5 million, with then up to a quarter of that reportedly going to a prior attorney to resolve a dispute with him over payment. And so, for those who were horrified by the events on January 6th, this news is as good as the DOJ signaling its support for anti-democratic insurrectionists, and then for a good number of Trump supporters, it represents a shred of justice for a peaceful protester who was wrongfully killed. But that's also not where the story ends, because the White House may actually be giving out money to more Jan 6ers than Babbitt. Right, and that because back in March, you had Trump suggesting to Newsmax that he would be open to financial reparations for the Jan 6 defendants.
Is there any talk of, because they lost opportunity, they lost income, any kind of compensation fund?
Well, there's talk about that. We have a lot of people talk about it. A lot of the people that are in government now talk about it because a lot of the people in government really like that group of people. They were patriots as far as I was concerned.
For now, with that, we're gonna have to see if there's any movement there. And in the meantime, I'd love to know your thoughts on this whole situation. Hey, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this clip from the full Philip DeFranco show. And also, a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring our Clips channel. Turn your passion into profit over at squarespace.com/Phil, or use the QR code. Because whether you're launching a business or a lucrative side hustle, your website is your digital business card. It's the only space where you control the story, no algorithms or distractions. And with Squarespace, it's so easy because they got a ton of stunning professional templates with drag and drop editing that makes site design incredibly simple, no coding required. So get started for free at squarespace.com/Phil, or scan the QR code on screen and use code Phil for 10% off when ready to launch. Squarespace.com/Phil.